Your party, along with UMNO, had very strong leaders in the past, dominated the party for decades.
Okay.
They have, in some sense, left the stage.
Okay.
But they loom large still. I think it's true, the media still carries their statements. They still have very strong opinions about the direction of the parties or the direction of the country as a whole. When Malaysians look at the situation, they feel that things haven't changed. Mm-hmm. But I know that the parties seem to be committed to renewal. They want to change. And, younger leaders like yourself and those in UMNO are trying to forge their own identity.
Yes.
What are the considerations that go into party renewal as a process for political parties like yourselves?
Okay, whenever you have a leader who has been there for some time, and everybody will accept that is the accepted leadership style. So whenever he leaves the stage, whoever comes in, steps in after that, there's always a comparison. That's one. But what we are trying to do is to open up the party to allow more say for the members and direct access by the members in the decision-making process. But we have to also look at the structure of the party itself, which means you have to look at the constitution, where you give more room for members to voice out their opinions, and at the same time to have a more broader base selection process when it comes to leadership.
Some parties like UMNO were modeled on the British Labour Party. They had a very strong democratic character. But that was changed, during the time of Dr. Mahathir. It became much more centered on his personality and, his kind of executive control of the party. What does it take for parties to democratize again? After decades of, more kind of, I could say authoritarian or very centralized control. What does it take?
I think it takes a determination on whoever that leader is taking over to say, look, I'm going to open up the system again. And the key thing is the constitutional amendments, the structural amendments, where you allow the grassroots to have more say. But even if you look at the Labour government, Labour Party in UK, before that they were dominated by the trade unions and all these various interest groups. So They had that structure when Tony Blair came in and he changed everything. So we need a move in that direction. But before that, the leader needs a strong mandate. He needs to be confident about his own position in the party to be able to do that.
Right. So the leader of your party, in some sense, does not have a mandate. He doesn't have an electoral mandate. And that's something he's going to be looking towards with this coming general election, yes. I'm assuming. Yeah. Now, the other thing, of course, is whether there's issues of culture, that you develop certain cultural norms in political parties. So, for instance, when you have a strong leader, people defer to them. They don't question. Yeah. There's a lot of agreement with the leadership, and it's very hierarchical. Now, is that easily changed? As easy as, say, changing the constitution?
It takes time. It takes time because culture takes time, and people need to see and they are evaluating the leader, and they see whether he's serious in that move to democratize the party. And once that they can see it, then they'll do. But of course, the first step, and also I think the foundation for it is the constitutional amendment. And once that's in place, then everything else will fall into place. But in order for the leader to do the constitutional amendments, he must go back to the members, and the members must approve of it.
What kind of constitutional amendments is the MIC looking at in order to kind of open the party up again?
We are looking into our constitution. We are revising it, but probably right now we have where the delegates will choose the CWC members, and the branch chairmen will elect the president, and the presidential election and the CWC elections occur at different time. Probably we are looking at a method where a broader base, more members are able to elect the CWC members. Right now, the selection of or the election of the CWC members is dependent on 1,500 elected delegates, whom they themselves are elected at divisional levels.
Right.
So probably we're going to open it up at a broader basis. Probably it goes to branch chairman or even branch committee members. But these are wholesale changes where before we can do that, the members themselves must vote for the amendments at our AGM.
Right. So the CWC is the Central Working Committee.
Yes.
Now, I mean, we have different models throughout the modern political history as well. We have a Leninist system when you have sometimes in Singapore, and the PAP, I think, has that kind of structure. The Central Working Committee actually elects itself. At some point, it is separated from the mass base. So the mass don't have an opportunity to, in fact, affect the inner workings of the party. Is it something that you would welcome? Would you like to see your party be truly kind of open and democratic? Wouldn't that create, in fact, more leadership struggles, more contentious issues within parties?
Yes, in the short term, it will create more leadership struggle. There will be more people aiming for posts and such things. But in the long term, that's what is beneficial for the party. So we are pushing in that direction. And usually what happens is that there are certain systems where the members will elect the Central Working Committee, and the Central Working Committee will elect the president or the office bearers. That's one system. But once you elect in the Central Working Committee, then they are sort of insulated. They are on their own, and they can choose their own leader. And the choice of leaders that they choose might be different from the aspiration of the grassroots. So that's one model, but we are looking at a model where the members themselves or the committee members at a branch level select the leadership or the Central Working Committee members. So to have a broader base.
Now, what do you think is... why should, say, the ordinary voter who's not a political party member be interested in the question of how parties organize themselves? Is this something just for people in the political parties who are committed to party political work? Or is this something that the voter, he himself or herself, should be cognizant of and be interested in understanding? Should their choice be based on the nature of that political party?
Okay. If you look at it technically, the voters outside do not have a say. And that's separate from what is the aspiration of the party. But in order for the party to be accepted and the candidates nominated by the party to be accepted, the party itself must be seen as being very democratic. And the party itself, the candidates that are being put forward by the party must fulfill the aspiration of the voters. Therefore, yes, we have to take cognizance of the sentiment on the ground. What are the aspirations of the people and the type of leaders that they want. In the past, we have seen where the party members or the branch chairman have chosen leaders that are deemed to be accepted by the public. Yes.
Okay. Now, when you're looking at this general election, right? I mean, there are parties that espouse democratic ideals. But if their own practices are undemocratic, is that something that should concern the voter?
Yes, it should concern all voters, because it shows that to what extent will they practice democracy once they're in power. A very good example is when Pakatan had their own internal Pakatan Rakyat had their internal elections. There was so much of dispute and there's so much of issues that could not be resolved. You know, the chosen candidates by the leadership have lost, and then after that there was re-election and such things. But that will erode the credibility as far as the general public is concerned, and that is something that we are trying to avoid at MIC.
Now, one of the things, the criticism that comes up often about the MIC is that it's actually a junior member in the Barisan National Coalition, yes, that UMNO dominates this coalition. When you think about renewal, does it also include reorganizing or rethinking the relationship with UMNO? Because there is this feeling that, in fact, UMNO decides who the candidates are, that Najib Razak is the man who decides, ultimately who the Barisan National candidates are, not the political parties themselves.
Okay.
And is that something that concerns you?
There is a misconception where they feel that UMNO throws his weight around, actually, which is not the truth. When we attend a meeting and all, no matter how small you are, all of us have equal say. All of us have equal say, all of us have veto power. So having said that, we also must realize that MIC, the Indian population in the country is around 8%. So with that margin, with that percentage, when you go to a negotiation table, then you only have that much of strength. But of course, as I said, all of us have veto power, and if there's some decision that we really don't accept, then we can veto it. So, but beyond that, in all the other matters, whenever we discuss, we'll try to accommodate each other. But again, as I said, when you have 8% population and the other side, they have 60% or 55% population, what is their bargaining power? So it comes down to that. But there was never an instance where we took a stand and we were bulldozed through. No.
Okay. There are some people who say, dissenters perhaps in UMNO, who feel that MIC is always sort of piggybacked on UMNO. That without the Malay vote that is mobilized by UMNO, MIC candidates could not win on their own. Is that true?
No. I think UMNO leadership have come to the realization that despite Indian voters being only 8%, but they are the deciding factors in many constituencies. They have taken cognizance of that, and you can see a more closer working relationship with that. But having said that, it's undeniable that UMNO has got a very good election machinery. They have a very good election machinery, and their election machinery, it is very effective. So in that sense, yes, they do carry the election machinery to a large extent. But they have come to the realization that there are many seats dependent on Indian votes, and MIC is able to deliver those Indian votes.
Now, there is a feeling, maybe you might dispute it, but that people want a kind of non-racial future for politics in Malaysia at least. Okay. And that the political parties need to begin to reflect that change of mood in Malaysia. Do you agree that there is a change in mood? And how does a race-based party like MIC deal with this changing aspiration?
I think that there is the move towards that. You can sense it everywhere. But having said that, you see, political parties are always dealing with interests. Whenever there's a group with interest, then they cater for that need. And as long as Malaysians see themselves in terms of interest group as race-based, and then I think the political parties will reflect that. Even if you take DAP or Pakatan Rakyat, although technically they're not race-based, but if you look at the composition, there's always, they'll try to accommodate one vice president, from India and one from Chinese. Although they might have lost the party election, the reason why they do it is to show there is that one Indian there or two Chinese there. So although constitutionally they are not race-based, but in effect they are. The only difference is that we are doing it in the context of Barisan Nasional, they are doing it in the context of their own party. But in the future, I see for the future, we must move towards that, where it is based on need and not based on race. And even within MIC, UMNO and MC, you can see that we are also championing cross-race issues, where sometimes it is where it concerns the Malay, MIC might voice out the concerns. A good example is where the incident in Sabah, where all the soldiers who have fallen are Malays, but you can see all the parties have contributed. They've shown that compassion toward the soldiers. So it's no longer race-based, but we are trying to move that, but it has to be step by step and depends on the extent of the readiness of the people to accept that.
Do you think there is, in fact, a disjuncture between people's desire for a non-racial future and actually how it operates? That they still want to be reassured that their community gets a certain amount of the goodies, right?
Yeah.
There is an appeal on one hand of everybody being equal, but I still want my quota.
Yes, that's the dilemma that we face. They say, yes, go on merit, and we are beyond race. But every time when the SPM results comes out, they ask how many Indians got this, got a place in matriculation or JPA scholarship, or simple things, everyday life. When there's an accident, road accident, somebody dies, the first thing they ask whether it's a Chinese, Malay, Indian. By right, you should not be asking that question, but we do. So it shows that although yes, we aspire towards a political system that's beyond race, but when it comes to our own self-interest, we see ourselves as an Indian, Chinese, and Malay. And I think that the moment that we cross that border, I think the politics will change automatically.
Last question for you. Which segment of the Indian community does MIC find hardest to persuade? Who is it who's not going along with MIC these days from the Indian community?
Definitely has to be the educated group and the upper middle income group, the professional group. We are having a tough time to bring them into our fold and to work together with them.
Why is that?
Various reasons, but you see, MIC was a party that was initially set up to cater for the needs of the Indians, and we started off with welfare and taking care of the bottom lines and all. But when the community has moved up into a middle income group, professional group, their needs are different. You know, they are looking for more job opportunities, business opportunities, and all those things. Whenever they come to that and they find that MIC is lagging behind in those aspects, so they find that I moved up in my life on my own, so therefore I don't need MIC. And therefore...
I mean, they're not grateful anymore.
No, I would not say not grateful. Whether you are grateful or not, that's for the individual to say. But I feel that they feel the success or the progress in their life has got nothing to do with the party, or that they've done it on their own, and therefore, why MIC? That's a challenge that we are facing. That is where we have to bring in more professionals and also mold the direction of the party to fulfill their aspiration and to see how we can assist them along their aspiration.
What is the message to the middle class and professionals? What is the message to them?
Look, we are serious about the well-being and the progress of the Indian community. You can do more, you can contribute more to the society by being part of MIC and working together with MIC. We are willing to work together with the professional group and the educated group. We need more ideas, we need more inputs from them, and together we can do it. You know, let's work together. And this is an undeniable fact that MIC is the biggest and organization with the furthest reach and with depth as far as the Indian community is concerned. So it's better to work with MIC, and we are serious in progressing our community. Let's work together.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.